collaboration between all the entities over on East Troublesome has been impressive. We have Grant County and Northern Water. They're working really, really well together. They're making things happen. We're trying to get a lot of work done over there, and we need that.
Debris booms, debris removal, sediment management, 5,000 acres of mulching. That's really pretty extraordinary to have been able to mobilize in this fashion in a short amount of time.
There's no way that Grant County could have done that without the help of all of the partners.
None of this would be possible without NRCS,
Colorado River District,
3 Lakes Watershed,
Middle Park Conservation District, the U.S. Geological Survey.
We worked with our partners at the Bureau of Reclamation, and we were able to make all of our deliveries to our water users this year.
The Grand Foundation,
Colorado Water Conservation Board,
Colorado Department of Agriculture,
our Colorado delegation that was very actively engaged in advocating at the right levels.
These projects are happening on private property, reaching out to 400 landowners, maybe even 500 at this point.
Oh, it's been great. Absolutely, it's gone really well. All the government agencies, I think what they're doing is a great thing.
To see how these relationships grew and solidified over time. That's really an incredible silver lining to the tragedy and the devastation that occurred.
We thought, you know, it's moving slow. Then all of a sudden it started gaining speed. The day that the fire hit us, it was moving. About 5:30, 6 o'clock, and we got a pre-evac, and within 10 minutes we got the code red, get out. It's coming. Then I'm scrambling. I'm trying to unhook a trailer, trying to hook onto a horse trailer. I had 2 more horses I had to get out. By that time, it was dark, it was smoky, it was windy. Embers and fireballs were flying by us. Maybe an hour after I left the ranch, that the ranch was gone. It hit it that fast. The last picture I took of the ranch with all the buildings standing, you could see the glow of the pink in the back. It is a weird feeling, walking out of your house and coming back to a house that's not even there.
Well, I've never experienced a natural disaster, and it's really opened my eyes.
I think we were all pretty stunned, one with the scale of it, but also just how quickly it came upon us. The East Troublesome Fire burned 193,000 acres in West Slope watersheds. The majority of these watersheds sit right upstream of the Colorado Big Thompson project. And our system serves over 1 million people on the Front Range, as well as 600,000 acres of irrigation. It was really upstream of our system, and it was going to affect us directly. It was very overwhelming. It felt very personal. We had been working in these watersheds, in these systems for many, many years. Some of us live over there, and we certainly know the people that live over there and have been working with them for many years.
In February, we worked with NRCS and our EWP partners to do site visits in the burn area and affected areas of the East Troublesome Fire and prepare damage survey reports. These really gave a high-level understanding of what the post-fire impacts might be. We also identified post-fire treatments.
We initially estimated the needs to be about $35 million.
purpose of the EWP program and the objectives are is after you have a watershed impairment, that program can be utilized to reduce erosion, sedimentation, and the threat of future flooding to protect life and property. And that program is utilized through sponsors. In the case of the East Troublesome, not only Grand County, but also Northern Water.
Thanks to our lobbyists and partnerships, we joined forces and asked the state to step up and help us with securing that funding, and got a lot of support.
Here we are on the debris boom project. We are here at Adams Tunnel.
The debris booms that we're putting in as part of the East Troublesome Fire effort are made to protect some of our infrastructure from floating debris. So we have floating tree limbs, burned debris that's coming in from the fire, and these debris booms basically sit on top of the water, and then they have a 2-foot screen below that. Adams Tunnel is where all of the Colorado Big Thompson water is run through underneath Rocky Mountain National Park into the east slope. So it is the one tunnel where all of that water is brought from the west slope to the east slope. We want to make sure that portal is protected.
The Adams Tunnel is the artery to the CBT's project, so we're doing this to protect the structure in the event that we'd have a big rain event and water would come down and debris. We are now heading over to Willow Creek, and we're actually going to put 2 debris booms in there.
This reservoir in this watershed had a really high burn rate. Over 90% of the watershed was burned, and so we know there's going to be a lot of fire debris.
One of the treatments that we have been working with NRCS on is seeding and mulching of priority watersheds and priority areas. The fires caused a lot of the vegetation on the ground to be burned and a lot of soil to be exposed, so this practice helps reestablish vegetation and prevent that hill slope erosion that we might see. This summer we completed about 2,300 acres of aerial seeding and mulching on private lands. We're planning to do aerial mulching of about 2,200 acres on Forest Service land this fall, but we're also working to identify additional treatments next spring.
In the beginning, we started by reaching out to, I'm going to say, over 400 landowners, maybe even 500. Some of the projects we've been working on are debris removal from steep slopes and areas that the debris would fall into waterways. We're also doing some hill slope gully erosion projects. And the biggest project we've done this summer is the aerial seeding and mulching with helicopters. And on Travis's property, we needed mulch for the U.S. Forest Service that abuts his property. And so what we were able to do then is our subcontractors could go in and they were able to chip some of the debris he had on his property and then bring that up to the steep slopes of the U.S. Forest Service.
They came in and chipped them all, chipped that whole pile, flew them onto the forest and got rid of all the mulch. I'm pleased at what was happened with the chipping program and the cleanup program.
We did all kinds of outreach. So there were personal one-on-one landowner meetings, there were virtual town halls, an in-person town hall. People walking by could stop in and see what we were doing with our projects. We're continuing to do those town halls and reach out to the public as much as we can.
Northern and Grand County partnered up to offer materials to help them protect their homes, whether it was sandbags, straw wattles, various other types of treatments that the landowners could use. Just a self-help, come and get your stuff. I think it was an innovative idea.
We've been collecting water quality data in the area of the East Troublesome Fire for almost 20 years. We made some modifications to our water quality program by increasing sampling activities at the locations that we felt were the most impacted by the fire. In addition to that, we added several more water quality sondes that collect data every 15 minutes. We also share these data with our partners and have developed tools that allow quick visualization of current water quality conditions. We hold monthly meetings with water treatment plants on the East Slope that rely on CBT water as a source drinking water supply.
For the amount of snowpack that we got this year, we really had a pretty normal runoff season in terms of both the quantity of the runoff and the quality of the runoff. After the snowmelt season, that's when we got into the summer monsoon season, and that's where we really started seeing the ash and the sediment and the debris coming off the watershed and coming down to our reservoirs. We've certainly been learning a lot this year of what we're going to see in the future. One thing's for certain, we're going to be affected by this fire operationally for many years to come.
So we were very lucky to be fully funded between the NRCS EWP program and CWCB to do the work on private lands. But that's just one piece of the puzzle, because the private lands were only about 10% of the burn area. They were important to target in the sense that they were immediately upstream of facilities that are important to us and our collection facilities, but it didn't address the 90% of the burn that is upstream of these lands, and all on federal lands, with about 70% of it on Forest Service lands. And so we've been working with the Forest Service and with our Colorado delegation to lobby for funding, and there's specifically dollars for post-fire restoration. So that's really good news. We're waiting to hear back exactly how much of these funds are going to funnel down to the local forest. The challenge remains for the Forest Service that they have limited capacity in terms of staffing, and so we're going to be relying very heavily on partnerships and collaboration to implement the work on Forest Service land. And that's going to be the next phase of work. The bulk of it is going to be mulching. We have identified 23,000 acres in need of mulching, so we won't be able to do it all at once. We're going to be working with the Forest Service on phasing, and then we're also going to be looking at 16 miles of streams that we have identified for what's called low-tech process-based treatments, things like beaver dam analogs. The intent of these structures is to slow down the flow, capture some sediment, allow for overbank flows. They provide a lot of ecological benefits. So these are the types of treatments that we're looking at implementing.
I'm really proud of all the work that Northern Water and Grand County and all of our partners have done. I think there's still a lot of work to do, but I think a lot has been done.
I think the situation with the two sponsors, Grand County and Northern Water on East Troublesome, has been an excellent effort, and we have learned a lot through their coordination and collaboration that we'll take forward.
There's so many other groups that are doing work to help people recover on all levels from the fire. On a larger scale, we are just a small part of that recovery. I think the Grand County community, they're really the most resilient people I've ever met.
This is just the start. There's so much more that needs to be done. It's just going to take some time. Just be patient and a good attitude. You know, it's unfortunate that it happened, but go with the good. There's always good and bad, you know, in what happens. Might take a couple years, but we're gonna get back on our feet. It's gonna be okay.